Good morning, Douglasville. This is Jeremiah again on the Easy Does It Transportation Podcast. And today, this is just kind of a short follow up to our tour of Chapel Hill. You know, that video was pretty popular, the dash cam tour of Chapel Hill. And we talked about AADT, average annual daily traffic, and we talked about trip generation. So, let's get into this and talk about those two topics again. What you see is a number here, 17,700. That is the average annual daily traffic. That's that number that I referred to. Come on down Chapel Hill in the 2-lane road area. We've got 19,400. Okay, and you keep on coming down past the school and in the Waffle House and the Dollar General, 21,300. Okay, 2 lanes. You got 2 lanes of traffic right here. Okay, there's some turning lane capacity, but primarily it's a 2-lane route. Okay, that's Chapel Hill. Let's see, what is it right down here? Further down, past the Publix. What do we got here? 7,000. Okay. So this is Chapel Hill. It's a 2-lane road, and then it opens up into a 4-lane road just below this commercial district right here. Okay. And the thing I want you to think about is how many people go in and out of Hobby Lobby every day. Kohl's. Okay. Nancy's. Well, guys, fantastic pizza right there. How many people go in and out of there every day? Jason's Deli. That's a great place to get a quick sandwich or salad bar. You know, Aldi's right here, or the Blue Agave. This is nice stuff right here, guys. I mean, we have some really nice stuff here in Douglasville. Really glad to live here. Cigar Depot, you know, let's see, uh, all kinds of these restaurants and places of business. Get your nails done, whatever. You know, lots of Target and Panera Bread. Listen, I mean, I like Panera, but listen to me. You got to go to the Bagel Meister. It's much better. You know, you got steak, you got barbecue, you got your breakfast, Starbucks, McDonald's, Bagel Meister. So when you think about, you got Chick-fil-A coming in down here somewhere. When you think about how many trips this generates, you know, now you're starting to think like a transportation engineer. And I just want to remind you, you are a licensed transportation professional, right? You have a license and you operate a motor vehicle on these networks. You're not just some ignorant, dumb, you know, driver. No, you are informed, you are professional, and you really carry your safety and the public safety in your hands when you get out on the road and drive. And you know, we're all transportation professionals, and I'm just trying to take, as a civil engineer, trying to take what I know and share it with you so that as a transportation professional, you know a little bit more. Okay, we live in Atlanta, heavily driving, you know, urban environment. Okay, so just thinking about trip generation, and another thing is peak time trip generation. So when does the Starbucks and the McDonald's and the Bagel Meister really peak out? In the morning. You got it. So that's nice. It's on the northbound road towards the interstate heading into Atlanta. The southbound road, okay, when is the Outback, Texas Roadhouse, the Shane's Rib Shack? Gosh, they're good barbecue there. When is that stuff most busy? In the evening, right? So if you're coming out of Atlanta and you come down Chapel Hill, you need to turn left, right? And turning left is the thing I want to really talk to you about as we think about Chapel Hill. So we looked at the AADT, some of the numbers that are in here, 17,000 right here and 21,000 down below the school, 2 lanes. You know, we just get to 2 lanes right here. I want to talk to you about lanes, and I want to number of lanes, and I want to talk to you about left-hand turns, okay? We got some left-hand turns right here. That's kind of good. I don't know why we've got this painted. That's capacity. Let's queue up in those. Let's get in those lanes and turn left. That probably should be, you know, allowing for queuing up to turn left into this Aldi parking lot. We could really do some reconfiguring of all this stuff and make it work a lot better. Um, Turning left, okay? If you're coming up here, you cannot turn left. If you're coming down, you cannot turn left into this big entrance right here. You cannot turn left, right? So left-hand turns on these in this densely commercial area are prohibited, which means that you actually add traffic. You begin doing things, you begin driving up and down roads just so you can get to the access. You actually add traffic. And we talked about that a little bit down at Lake Monroe Road. I'll just jump over there real quick to kind of, it's a much better example. Let's see, Bomar Road, Fairburn Road. Look at this, 30,000 trips on Fairburn Road a day. That is heavy duty, guys. That is not trivial, okay? All right, Fairburn Road right here. So this is Lake Monroe Road. And you know, presently, it doesn't show it in this aerial, but presently you cannot make a left-hand turn off of Lake Monroe onto Fairburn Road. You cannot do it anymore. They've installed concrete islands here, and you cannot do it. So what you have to do is you have to turn right, and so you have to add to the southbound traffic. You have to get in this U-turn, okay, and then you do the ultimate worst kind of left-hand turn, which is the U-turn. Okay, you got to dart out here really slow, turn around, and then if traffic's really congested, man, you've just added a lot of congestion, a lot of traffic just to turn left. This is a great place for a traffic signal. But this is what I'm talking about, limited left-hand turns. You know, right now you can turn left here, but if you, in this image, you cannot right now because they've installed the median. But when you look at this picture, turning left right here prevents the turning right, adding to the southbound congestion, and then doing a U-turn and adding all of that to the northbound congestion, adding to all that northbound congestion. So limited left-hand turns create those sort of circuitous trips that like really don't make a lot of sense. All right, now I want to compare this area. Okay, so we talked about the AADT, we've talked about raised medians and how that prevents left-hand turns, which limits access. It allows for throughput, but let's face it, throughput here is not working. I also want to touch on, hey, we have 6 lanes on this interstate, 1, 2, 3 in each direction. I want to go and compare this to our neighbor, okay? Let's go look at our neighbor in Sandy Springs, all right? Coming into Sandy Springs, let's go to Roswell Road. Let's see, is this Roswell Road? I think this is Roswell Road. Let me turn let's make sure. Google Roads. Yep, US 19. Again, federal and state funding for this road right here, okay? Not Fulton County, but Fulton County might add some money to the state efforts, but this is all state money. First of all, let's take a look at what kind of ADT we're dealing with on Roswell Road. And look, it's no comparison in many respects, right? I mean, come on, this is Fulton County, this is Sandy Springs. This commercial zone is much bigger, but let's take a look. And this is, you know, right next to what, 400? Is that 400? That's US 19. Look, we got US 19 twice, man. They're double dipping on the federal dollars. Is that 19? I think that's 400. Anyway, I'm good. All right. So what kind of AAD? 33,000. All right. 33,000 on this densely commercial district. If you've not been on Roswell Road, this feels very much like Chapel Hill. This is where they have their Trader Joe's, but there's a lot of restaurants. There's a lot of shopping. Very, very commercial district. A lot of top-end traffic generators. All right, and they've got 33,000. All right, 33. So they're like twice the twice the number of traffic. But let's just look in here and see. Do we find a median, a divided median? Yes, we do. Right here. Looks like we have one right here. Okay. Looks like we have it right here. Where? At the intersection, at the interstate. It's on both sides of the on-ramp. But when you're talking about the actual roadway down here where the access needs to occur, look at that roadway. That looks nothing like Chapel Hill. Okay? Look at that. You see that? That looks like Douglas Boulevard, where you got 2 lanes plus a turn lane. You see this guy? You see this mobility here? Get out of this guy's getting out of the way so the traffic can flow. There's looks like a right-hand turning lane here. So whenever this development occurred, Fulton County was probably like, hey, you know, you gotta make room for an entrance lane to get your traffic that you're generating off of Roswell Road. So that's how that kind of works there. I mean, you just look at this. Look at how big this road is, and there's a turn lane the whole way. That's what I want you to understand. This is what Chapel Hill needs to look like. Okay, this is what Chapel Hill needs to look like. Let's take another look at another roadway nearby. You know, the Glen Ridge connector. Let's go look over here at the Glen Ridge connector. Turn the names of the road on so we got a clear visibility on that. Yeah, the Glen Ridge connector. Okay, this is 400 in the Glen Ridge connector. Look at that train track right there. Man, those guys get into Atlanta like no problemo. Okay, so the Glen Ridge connector. Turning off the road names, 26,000. Okay, this is Fairburn Road carries more than this, right? Fairburn Road carries more than that 26,000. How many lanes are on this thing? How many lanes? 1, 2, 3. That's a turning lane. 1, 2, 3. It looks like 6 lanes. All right, look at this. 21,200. Look at this. This is 10,000. This is about 12,000 fewer trips per day than Fairburn Road. And look at it. Look how big this is. Okay. So guys, we got to build the capacity. It's not an issue of building another circuitous route. It's not about making cut-throughs. It's about building capacity. We have to build the capacity into our roadways, our existing roadways. So this is 30,000. Look at it. You can't see it great here, but there's a turning lane. Okay, here's is better. Yeah, you got 2 lanes going up, 2 lanes going down, and there's no divided medians. Okay, it's time to rethink the divided medians. It's time to get this traffic flowing. This is a good example of a traffic jam in action right here, isn't it? Why? What's happening? It looks like there may be some road work up here. Maybe not. Yeah, it looks like they're paving right here. These are cones, right? So then all of this is getting congested into. That's pretty interesting. All this is, yeah, you see them merging into that left lane, right? So that's why you got all this congestion back here. Okay. Oh, let's see if they utilize. Let's see if they utilize that turn lane for congestion. It seems to help right here, right? Seems like that median may help. They're not really utilizing it. It doesn't look like they're, but yeah, it looks like they're doing some paving and, okay. Yeah, so video edit here, coming back into Douglas County, and one thing I failed to touch on after looking at the roads there on Roswell Road is the number of lanes. Okay, yeah, but we didn't really discuss that a whole lot. 2 lanes it's just not gonna hack it here. It's just not gonna do it. We're carrying 2/3 of what Roswell Road is carrying. We're carrying that much right here on a 2-lane facility. That's a no-go. I know Chapel Hill wants to have a nice community with the golf course and everything. Listen, Roswell is a nice community. They have a Trader Joe's, right? So 2 lanes just isn't going to do it, guys. We really need to rethink that. We need to get 4 lanes with a turning lane all the way down Chapel Hill. And by the way, I think this curve in the roadway right here, we're coming down a hill to 166. This curvature is probably designed to help slow traffic, okay, because there's a tendency to come down that hill, especially at night, and if a driver's distracted or maybe somewhat impaired, there's a tendency for them to just go straight through 166 and not stop. That may be a great place to build in a big roundabout, a big visible roundabout, kind of like what's anticipated for Pope and Bomar Road, a big roundabout where it kind of is going to, awareness is going to be made to the driver. They're going to slow down, and they don't actually have to stop. They're able to keep going through. Okay, all right. Well, listen, that's all I've got for you on this episode of the Easy Does It Transportation Podcast. Stay engaged. Communities don't build themselves; people do. It's up to us to build ours. The Bomar connector, guys, the Southern Arc. That's that's a bad deal. Voice your opinion, take the survey, and stay engaged. Thanks for watching.